We are live.
Hey, y'all!
We back.
We back again.
We gonna give y'all a couple of minutes to tune in. Tune in. Do you want to tag Angelica Little in this video? I'm going to tag her. She's tagged. She's tagged. But yes, we're gonna give y'all a couple of seconds to tune in.
Gotta make sure that ankle's right though. So I wish live would let us change the. Ooh, I wish. I really do wish. Child, yes I do. Yes I do. Now where did I put it? Y'all tune on in on this evening and share it when you tune in.
Yes.
Chester. Is it Chester?
It is Chester Watkins.
And Deirdre, all right.
Deirdre, hey,
I like that name.
Deirdre.
Deirdre sound like a name like she could do her real good. Like, girl, Deirdre, she's gonna do my roll, my French roll. That's what it sounds like.
A French roll. Oh my God.
Girl, yeah, Deirdre did my sew-in last week.
French roll.
Mm-hmm. That's what Deirdre sound like.
What's going on, ma'am? How are you? I feel like I haven't seen you in forever and a day.
Hey now. Let me see. Oh, I need to share that.
You need to share it and tag those people that asked to be tagged in.
Oh, yes.
So we can go ahead and get it popping.
Do that. We're going to get it popping.
Get it popping. Get it popping.
You know, I feel like...
Yeah, I do that every time. Every single time.
Hey, it's what you got to do. What you gotta do, what you gotta do, what you gotta do. A boom, 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 and a boom, boom. Y'all remember that song from the 90s? Boom, 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 and a... Yeah, all I wanna do is a boom, boom, boom,
just shake your rump.
Hey.
My son dresses like crisscross. Backwards.
A crisscross will make you
everything.
jump.
His shirt and pants are on backwards
I'm
right now.
trying to tag the Saints, but honey, listen, these names are not...
You don't remember them?
They're not coming up in the tagging.
Hey everybody, hi Jelly.
I'm gonna
watching?
just have to have share. That's what we're gonna have. Okay. 10 is enough. I say let's jump in.
Let's jump in. So we want to welcome you to Her Talk. Yeah, it's time for Her Talk. I have been so amped about this. Oh my gosh, I've been so amped about I'm Her and Him and Her Talk since we've been planning the content. I'm ready. So
do y'all know what HER stands for? I'm gonna be extra tonight. Warning. I'm extra all the time, and I'm gonna be very extra tonight. Do y'all know what HER stands for? HER stands, what is how teachers talk? HER stands for healed, empowered, and ready.
Yes.
Ready for what?
To be whole.
Okay.
Ready to be who God called us to be.
Okay.
Yeah, we are ready for the world.
We're ready. Are you ready? Well, you know, if you're not ready, you're here. So guess what that means? You're gonna be ready.
Yeah.
Okay. We have a question submitted from a young lady. Okay. Now, we cover a vast majority of subjects. Okay. Food addictions, body shaming, finances, organization and cleaning of the home. We cover it all. Tonight we're going to be discussing sex.
Oh, it's getting real. Oh, y'all stretch y'all hands towards my friend.
Help me. All right. Listen, you guys, this young lady says, what are some ways you can get back to a relationship with boundaries in regards to sex once you've already crossed that line? So already I'm hearing there were some boundaries set in this relationship to not have sex. So I'm going to assume this couple is not married. Because if married people are having a conversation about no sex,
that's not healthy. Have sex and lots of it if you're married.
Bang, 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 boom, boom. All right. She said this case is within a relationship that is already committed to each other. Okay, so you all are committed to each other. You all have both decided, you know what? This sex thing, we're going to draw a line. We're not going to engage. For whatever reason. Everybody has their reasons as why they want to abstain. What is your take on this?
I first believe that if you have set boundaries in your relationship, then there is a reason behind you setting the boundaries, whether it be for God, whether it be for just clarity or whatever. You've got to make sure that each person agrees with these boundaries. Don't assume, for sure. You've got to make sure that both parties agree with the boundaries, and not just agree in the moment. Like, oh, boo, yeah, I agree because you cute and I'm saying, I'll wait for you, but I don't really mean it. No, you've got to both mean that I'm willing to wait for this individual. And if the other party isn't serious about the boundaries, maybe the relationship isn't what's best.
Or maybe you weren't serious.
Maybe so. Maybe you just wanted to sound pure but didn't want to.
So here's what you got to do. And it's funny that this question was asked, because you got to get naked, not in front of each other, but with yourself. Ask yourself, why were the boundaries crossed? Why was we bumping and grinding?
Why were we in a position to bump and grind? Why was we alone? Why were we...
Where was we at? What was you wearing that day? Was it an oil? Was it a perfume?
Yeah,
Did you say something to me in text message that made me just want to give it all in 1 second? What had happened? That's what y'all got to do first. Do your research.
Yep.
Figure out what triggered you. Okay? Triggers are going to happen. God blessed us with those to get the sex drive going so it can happen. Okay? But if y'all cross the boundary, you got to ask yourself, what happened to make us take the boundary away?
Yeah.
To do it. And there's nothing wrong with saying I was horny. Okay, that's fine. Y'all,
you gotta be honest.
I'm blunt. I don't do that cute sugar stuff.
You gotta be honest.
We don't sugarcoat around here. Okay? We don't do that.
It's definitely important to be honest. Like, look, this is what was going on. And then from this point forward, either we're not going to allow ourselves in the predicament that we were in. So I'm not going to send that text message. I'm not going to wear that outfit. We're not going to be here at this time alone with nobody around. So you have to, if you're serious about the boundaries, then you just have to be serious about those boundaries and stick to your guns no matter what.
And y'all have to have that conversation. Like, you can't have this conversation with yourself. Like, I'm not going to let him do this no more. I'm not going to do this no more. Both of y'all need to sit down next to each other, preferably in a public place. Don't have this conversation in the apartment alone. Have this conversation.
Right.
Because you're like, I ain't never going to do it again.
But it's too close.
Please. Nope. Having sex in public is against the law.
It is.
That way, you all will be stopped by the law and you won't go to jail.
She's so crazy.
Okay? That's my advice. Do this in public, okay? Yes. Have this conversation in public. Why did we cross the line? What happened?
Yeah. And did we really want it to happen?
Yeah.
Yeah. We consciously made the decision to go here. So let's pump the brakes, let's pull back, and let's reroute.
Yeah.
A little bit.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
And then after you guys decide, okay, this is why we crossed the boundary, then you all need to also need to say, why do we want the boundary? Mm-hmm. Why is the boundary important to you?
Yep. What's the end goal?
Why is this boundary valuable to me? Are we not going to last if we don't have these boundaries? Discuss the motive of the boundary. Because sometimes we can say, oh, I don't want to have sex so we can sound holy and sanctified. You ain't fooling God, for one, okay? He knows. How about that? How you like them apples? So I would be honest with each other. Okay? Now, as far as, that pretty much answers the question, because if she's saying, what are some ways to get back to a relationship? Flat out. Okay, yep. Why do we cross the boundaries? And then why do we want the boundaries?
Yep.
Now let's set some new ones.
And stick to your guns.
And then maybe accountability partners.
Yep. Now,
accountability partners who you contact before y'all smash. Don't smash and then come calling me talking about some girl. Child, we did it. Okay, that ain't accountability. That's the report. You're just reporting to me what happened. Accountability is, baby, I want to go over there.
Yeah.
Accountability is, I want him to come over.
Yep.
That's what accountability is.
And you gotta have a good accountability partner.
And she like, girl, just get you some. Yeah. God don't forgive you.
She ain't it.
Or he ain't, dog.
Yeah.
Bruh,
he ain't it. So you've got to have people with the same mindset as you around you, surrounding you, be your spouse and your friends. Because if not, you're going to be bumping and grinding.
There's
plenty wrong with a little bumping grinding.
And grind. Come on out the corporate body. Here.
I'm not fooling with Angelica today. I pray it did.
Amen. We said that together. I love it. Hallelujah.
So today, we're gonna talk about being childish.
Ooh, she childish.
She childish.
Ooh, she childish.
So last week we talked about getting naked. But not like physically naked. Based off the conversation we just had, we're not talking about getting physically naked. We're talking about getting naked, being vulnerable with yourself, finding out what is really who you are, what you're made of, and what makes you tick, what makes you angry, things like that. So with speaking about being vulnerable with yourself or being naked, we've got some tools and some tips for what now, because we don't just want to be walking around naked. We're not in Adam and Eve time. But we do, however, want to get naked so that we can learn who we are, so that we can grow into who God has called us to be. So now today, yeah, she is just crazy, ain't Wendy? She is crazy. But now today we're talking about being childish. And so once we get naked, we have to strip ourselves down to the bare minimum of what we are. And at the core of all of us, I believe, is that little innocent child that just wants to be taken care of.
That's good.
And so when we begin to get vulnerable with ourselves, when we begin to get naked, then we get to see that child. And Matthew 18 talks about a childlike faith. It says that you can't inherit the kingdom without having childlike faith. And so we're going to dig into what it means to be childlike. And it's very important to be childlike, to be childish, to do this work that we got to do.
And when we say this work, we're talking about healing.
Yes.
And then wholeness.
Yes.
It don't just happen because they cast you out of church and they pray these fucking tongues and you do the little dance. That ain't good enough. After you leave the service, you need the work. You need the platform. You need the layout. And that's what we're talking about. I love church, but after it's over, that's when the devil hits you hard.
Oh, yeah.
And you be like, huh? We got you, okay? So, after you get naked comes the onion model. And last week we discussed the onion model is when you take a layer off. You take the cover off of a layer. You take the clothes off. And then it reveals to you what's there, okay? And then after you heal and do the work on that layer, you take another layer off. Y'all know onions have layers and layers and layers, right? So here's what I discovered. This past week, my onion model was starting to go to work. It was starting to go to work. And when I decided to be vulnerable with myself, I got naked with myself and I discovered some validation issues.
Ooh.
I discovered that when I do not receive validation from people I value or from people I feel I should receive validation from, I turn into a little girl. And then I start to hear the enemy say, "You're not good enough. You're not good enough. See, you're not good enough. See, they don't want you to," the lies start to come. Okay, and if I listen to those lies, if I believe them, guess what I'll do? I'll put my clothes back on and I'll stop being vulnerable with myself. And that drags me away from what? The healing and the wholeness. Okay, so what I realized is a childlike faith is the nucleus for doing your work. It's not good enough to say, I want to be healed. It's not good enough to say, I want to be whole. You have to keep this childlike faith in process. It's like a train track. The train ain't gonna run smooth unless it's on the track. Okay, this childlike faith is our train track. Now, the first part to that train track is curiosity. Y'all know kids are curious.
Oh, yes.
My son is in this curiosity stage. He's growing. He's putting everything in his mouth.
He just bit a bar of soap.
Literally, and I had to swipe his mouth. That doesn't make me a bad mom. That's just his nature. He's a child. And guess what? He is going to continue to meet that curiosity because he wants to know. He wants to learn. On this journey of being vulnerable with yourself, after you get naked and that onion model begins for you, if you're going to do a full onion model, meaning if you're going to continue to uncover, you gotta have that curiosity to fuel that uncovering.
Yeah.
So when I hit that trigger of, oh shoot, my validation wasn't met, I don't feel good enough, I didn't like how it felt to not feel good enough. Now, if I was operating like an adult and I was running from that childlike faith and that self-vulnerability, I would just, oh well, It is what it is. It's who I am.
Mm-hmm.
But if I want to maintain that childlike faith, once I'm triggered and once I realize I'm feeling this void of validation, the childlike faith in me is curious to find out why.
Yeah.
Why is it there?
Yeah.
Why don't I feel good enough? Why do I want them to validate me? I'm mad. I want them to validate me.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Yep. I think it is so important to ask ourselves questions. Why am I feeling this? So often we just go through life and we just breeze through it and we never really stop to consider what is really going on. Why am I this way? Why am I angry? Why am I snapping? Why don't I like her? All of these things. And we just let life pass us by without getting to the true essence of why.
Yeah.
I know my son Mally, he asks 1,000,000 questions a day. 1,000,000. Like literally, and I'm like, son, don't ask another question. And I've got to stop saying that because it's important to dig deep. Don't just take the surface of.
Okay.
Don't just accept what it is, because you want to know, why did I end up in his bed
Again?
Why did I call this person? Why did I let her take me out the box? Why did I cuss her out? Why didn't I go to church? Why didn't I pray today? Why didn't I feel good today? Why do I have an attitude? No, we accept these things. We've got to ask these questions. We've got to ask these questions. Yes, ma'am. We've got to speak the truth to ourselves. We've got to understand that it comes from somewhere. And if we don't ever ask those questions to ourselves, if we don't ask ourselves, then we'll never learn of ourselves.
You gotta keep asking. And if you know what, I hear people say, if you talking to yourself, you're crazy. No, you're not.
No, you're not.
You're supposed to talk to yourself. You're supposed to ask yourself these questions. You're supposed to.
Absolutely.
Okay? So the first step of childlike faith, you've got to have that curiosity.
Gotta be curious.
Curiosity is going to lead to this next one that she's going to talk about.
Persistence. So you can't just ask yourself why one time.
Yes, ma'am.
Because why is going to expose one layer,
Mm-hmm.
the validation layer. All right. So why did I get mad when he didn't answer my phone call, or why did I get mad when he didn't say you look cute in those jeans? Well, that peels back the layer of I need validation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why do I need validation?
That's good.
Maybe because I wasn't validated as a child. Well, why wasn't I validated as a child? Maybe because my mom wasn't validated as a child, so she didn't know how to validate me. Well, why wasn't she validated as a child? And the persistence is going to get you to the root of the thing. We can't just deal in the surface because nothing ever changes. It's like Stephen Furtick actually preached a message, and he was talking about flip the flow. He said nothing ever comes out the way that it goes in. It usually has to go through some changes and things like that. So if we know that my attitude isn't just because I have an attitude, but it's because maybe my mama's mama had a bad attitude, then I'm able to understand that, process it, but then change it.
Okay.
We can't change what we don't know.
Now.
So we've got to be persistent in asking those questions and figuring out the truth, because if we're giving up, we gonna stay her, and not the good her, the nasty
Warm in here.
her.
It's a little warm because when you put yourself on the hot seat, it's not going to be comfortable.
Nah.
We're warning you all. It's not comfortable. It's not easy, okay? And the natural response is to back away from that, okay? So as you are persistent, understand you're going to have to stay vulnerable.
Yeah.
A kid, when they're curious about something and they're persistent about something, they open themselves up to find out whatever it is they're going to find out. Now, they have no clue what they're going to find out, but they trust their parents. They're vulnerable enough with their parents to tell them what's going on. They're vulnerable enough to be curious enough, to be persistent enough. Like, to be persistent, you have to be vulnerable.
Absolutely.
You have to be open. You have to, now, they don't know they're vulnerable, but children are very vulnerable. This is why sexual abuse is so easy.
Yeah.
This is why sexual abuse is so easy, because sick adults understand a child is vulnerable, okay? But on this journey with yourself, you got to stay vulnerable, meaning you got to stay open so you can get to the next part, to the next part, okay? And we've covered the vulnerability before, but we just want you to understand, children don't do closed off.
Yeah.
Okay?
They're open.
They'll tell you how they feel. If your breast stink, they'll tell you. If they like you, they'll tell you. If
So honest.
Yeah, I mean, if they want money, they'll tell you. If they want food, they'll tell you. They're open, they're vulnerable, okay? You've got to keep that with yourself.
Yeah.
as you're keeping this childlike faith and instilling it into your life. Okay?
Yes, and I think it's very important to understand or create an atmosphere that you're safe with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because the moment a child doesn't feel safe is the moment they shut off. That's when they become withdrawal children, and they're only operating with ourselves. And we are, especially as women, we like to be independent. But we were created to be dependent. We were created, I know that we're strong, and I know that we have tenacity and all of this. We're very strong mentally, but we were created to be dependent. But when we're not vulnerable with ourselves, we're not vulnerable with anybody else. And so you feel like an island, and then you feel like you have to do it by yourself. There's so many people walking around trying to obtain everything on their own when they know, or they need to know, that they need partnerships. They need to connect with people. But if you're not vulnerable with yourself, you're not going to be open to be vulnerable in other relationships.
Yeah, I mean, that's ultimately it's going to block your healing. And your healing is going to prolong, it's going to put off your wholeness. Okay? Speaking of which, forgiveness. That is another block of stunting the growth. If you're going to do this, you got to be quick to forgive who first?
You. You've got to be quick to forgive you first.
So you was in this bed. All right, cool.
It's over.
Okay.
You're not anymore.
Get up.
It's a new day.
Clean up.
Yep.
And then decide. All right.
Forward.
Onion model. Now, why was I just here again?
Yeah.
How did I get here again? Be honest. All right, I'm here. Once you do your curiosity part, I'm curious as to understand why I'm in this bed again. Great. And you're going to be persistent to find the answer. Great. Okay, you're being vulnerable in order to do this. Great. But now you've got to
forgive. Forgive you. Forgive you for being in the bed. Forgive your dad for not validating you enough as a child, so now you feel like you have to be in somebody's bed to be validated. All of these are a part of the onion model. So as you forgive yourself, then you are allowing yourself to forgive others. And usually, usually who we hold in the prison of offense is who we attract. So we end up with people that are just like our dads. We end up with people we got friends that are just like our moms. We've got these people that hurt us. If we don't forgive them and let them go, then we tend to repeat those same mistakes in our lives, and then we perpetuate it. So now we're teaching our kids to accept less than the best for themselves. It is so important to forgive, to be healed and whole, because it's real.
And I'm going to tell y'all too, forgiveness takes vulnerability. I got to be open. I got to open myself up to even give you a chance to be seen in God's eyes and my eyes.
Absolutely.
For me to forgive you for hurting me, I have to realize Christ died for you too.
Yeah. And forgiveness has never been easy. Forgiveness has never been easy for me, but I believe as I grow and as I become whole in God, He's teaching me that as I'm vulnerable with myself and I'm peeling back the onions and I'm seeing the roots that are in place in my life, that the people that have hurt me in my life have roots in their life. And because I see that I have roots and I understand that they have roots, I'm more compassionate. And so no, I'll probably never let you back in my sphere, but I'm not angry with you, because even though you're not justified to do what you did to me, I understand why you did it. Because there's layers that you haven't peeled back. So you're operating out of hurt. And as big girls who are childish, we can't operate out of hurt.
That's good. And I'm telling y'all, like, when we get off of these lives, our onion models begin. Our onion models begin. The issues that I face, she knows about them because she's the person that I trust to help me work through it. She's very unbiased and she's not judgmental. And if I'm wrong, she'll come to the carpet and say, sis, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. But what I'm saying, if you're gonna go through, and we'll cover this with our next episode when we talk about your support system. If you're gonna go through this childlike faith, you gotta realize that support system is gonna be crucial to reinforcing your onion model.
Yeah.
Okay, y'all, that is crucial. But we don't want to give that away. We do not want to give that away. Okay, so listen.
There's 4 steps to being childish, and childish is something that we want to be. Those 4 steps. We have to be curious. We have to ask why. Mm-hmm. We have to be persistent. We have to keep asking why. Don't stop at the first why. Even though the first why will hurt, you've got to keep asking why. You've got to keep doing it. Keep at it. You have to be vulnerable. You have to be. As a child, you know, as a mom, I love watching my child go out and do stuff, but he always looks back for me to say, yeah, go ahead. He always looks back. And so it shows that he's comfortable with me. And if I approve it, do it. And so with that validation, and he's so vulnerable that he only moves when I say move. And we've got to be that way. We've got to be so childish that we are open to God's direction in our life. When he says no, we got to be cool about it. We may not like it, but we got to be cool with it. When he says go for it, we got to go for it. Even if it's hard, even if it's new, even if it's scary, we've got to do it. And we've got to be quick to forgive.
Because if you don't forgive, you'll get stuck. Your curiosity will go away. You'll stop being persistent, and you will stop being vulnerable if you don't forgive, because it's going to turn into anger, which will turn into bitterness. And then you'll start to justify why you don't have to forgive. And at this point, the enemy's already seeped in, and he's built strongholds over your mind. And he's fed you lies, and you digested those lies and made those lies your truth. You know, everybody's talking about your truth these days. Well, if you're not careful, you will let the enemy's lies become your truth, and you sitting here 15 years later by yourself wondering why. Bitter.
With cats.
Mad.
All you got is cats.
Okay? So, I think this was rich.
Absolutely.
I feel happy because I'm working through my onion model. And guess what? Y'all know onions make you do what?
They make you cry. And they stink.
Woo, child.
But they make food so good.
Oh! I made some pasta
Yes, with cats, Lisa.
I made some pasta in, I want to say November or December. And I put onions and garlic in it. And my husband, I don't think he knew. So then I made that same exact pasta the next month. And I did not put the onion and garlic. He was like, I like the last batch better. I ain't like this one that much.
Onion brings out the flavor.
Ooh, child.
And that's what God is trying to do with us right now. He's trying to bring out our richest flavor.
For our purpose.
Yeah, because we don't.
Because we, look, child. So don't negate your onions. Don't throw them away. Cut the things open. Start your onion model.
Cry, write, pray, get through it, and remain childlike in it, because God is going to, I think, propel you into what he created you for if you're willing to be vulnerable with yourself.
Man, thank y'all so much for tuning in. If you have questions that you want answered, we're going to post the link once again. And honestly, what you all should do is just subscribe.
Yeah, you should just subscribe.
So we ain't got to keep saying this every video.
You would enjoy it.
Subscribe, you'll get the updates, and you'll get the opportunity to submit a question. Okay?
I think we should pray.
You're going to do it too.
I am fine with that.
Amen.
God, in the name of Jesus, we thank you right now for your presence with us tonight, God. We thank you that you are calling us to a greater work. We thank you that you are preparing us for our greatest, God. You are preparing us to be the dopest that we've ever seen ourselves be, God. And so as you are preparing us, God, we are letting you know that we are willing to be vulnerable with you and with ourselves, God. We pray that you take us through the onion model with grace. I pray right now that your spirit lead us through and into all truth about who we are, who we've been, and who we're gonna be in you, God. Right now, I pray that you give us the strength and the tenacity and the perseverance to continue this journey to wholeness. And it's in your mighty name that I pray. Amen.
Amen. We love you guys. Thank y'all for tuning in each and every week, because you don't have to.
You don't.
Okay?